What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode on Proven Power Cycles. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Eric. What we got there all right here?
The swivel heads.
And we got Lewis over there. Lewis is over there working on some forks. We got a set of ZX10 Gen 4 forks. And yeah. So, today we have a 2023 ZX14R on the dyno. So on this bike currently, as you can tell, it has a stock exhaust system and a Sprint P08 air filter in it. And that's it. So what we are gonna do here today, well, I should say over the next couple of days, but in this episode, we are going to be, first we're gonna baseline this bike as we do with all of our videos. I always start with the baseline no matter what bike it is. We start with a baseline. That's what we're gonna do on this. We're gonna make sure everything is running correctly and everything looks good and the motor's healthy, okay? So what this customer is gonna do, he's gonna go with the full Brox Predator exhaust system. So they're a little bit cheaper than like the Pentacarbons and the Alien heads right now. And they still do really good. They still have a good diameter piping all the way throughout, good size primaries. So we've had good results on another ZX14R that we did a mild, like an OEM rebuild, if you will, on a motor, along with that Brox Pentacarbon Sprint P08. We stretched it, and we also did a chain and sprocket kit. So this one will be kind of similar, but he's going to be a stock wheelbase, but he's going to have the full Brox Predator system. And we're doing a quick shifter install and some oil mods on this one. So primarily what I wanted to focus on as far as the dynoing goes is just the results from a Sprint P08 and a Brox Predator system. So I'm expecting around 200 wheel horsepower when it's all said and done, even with the stock chain and sprocket, but we shall see. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and fire this thing up, warm it up, and get the baseline done.
Recording? Just recording.
He does this all the time. I'll get like a 40-minute video of nothing. All right, guys, so we got that baseline all wrapped up on this 2023 ZX14R. And right now, Lewis has got everything stripped down to get ready to install all of the modifications. So it's a bit of a mess, but again, this is kind of what you have to do.
Mess.
Organized. Yeah, here we go.
Look here. I know where everything's at. That's all that matters.
All right. So we have the inner and outer basket, the clutch assembly is all taken apart. And I know in the past, some of you guys have talked to me about this in the videos. So right here, we're gonna do a little bit of teaching for you guys. This is your oil pump gear, all right? This is the oil pump plate behind that gear, all right? Between the gear, the plate, and then the high pressure relief valve, or the oil pressure relief valve, which is on this right here. So that is your oil pressure relief valve. Can you point to it, Lewis, since I'm holding it? Right there. So that's your oil pressure relief valve, okay? This is the OEM one that's in there now. The aftermarket one is a billet aluminum, and it's a higher relief valve. So the pressure, it allows the pressure to gain, I think it's up to 90 PSI on the aftermarket one. So this pressure relief valve right here, it's gonna be up to, all right, it doesn't even say it, but normally it's up to, I wanna say 90 PSI. Here is the high volume oil pump gear. So this is going to increase the amount of volume of oil. And then here is the billet plate. So this plate does not allow the flexing. So this OEM plate flexes under pressure. So what ends up happening is as you're on the decel, this plate tends to flex, and it allows the oil pressure to drop. It's kind of a fault of the OEM manufacturing process. You would think after producing this bike for 12 years, they would have kind of done a solution. Now,
Just look at the thickness. So look how
Yeah,
thin
so
that
look,
is
we got
versus how thick
this is an OEM plate in my hand right here. This is OEM. See how thin we're dealing with? I mean, this thing, it is razor thin basically compared to what the aftermarket. Now look at the billet plate. We have a lot more meat, So, and it's going to have less flex. It's going to be a stiffer metal object. Obviously, it's going to have more rigidity to it. And this is all billet. It's a strong material. It's light. Yeah, all the things. So, well, this is aluminum too, but it's a cast aluminum. It's a cheap aluminum. It's cast material. It's not the best material. So, between these three mods, it really helps keep the oil pressure on a higher level. It's more or less, I'm not going to say it makes the motor bulletproof, but guys, it does help, okay? Especially if you're planning on beating the bike a little bit and driving a little bit hard, I would highly recommend it, okay? We do have people out there who all say, well, I've never done this oil pump mod and I've never had an issue. Great, we're happy for you. Good job. You probably also don't drive the bike the way some of these other people are driving it. So it doesn't mean that it doesn't help. Again, I'm not going to say that there's bikes out there that aren't, you know, that are running these mods or not running these mods that aren't living, but at the same time, for how long? So this definitely helps. It wouldn't be a thing if this wasn't invented. You know, I'm running it on my personal bike, and let me tell you something, it's got probably 20, 30,000 miles on it. It's been through nitrous, turbo, race gas, MR12, VP110, I mean, E85, you name it, my bike has been through it. It's been a test dummy for a lot of things, and it's still running strong. So the other thing is that we're going to be doing is a full exhaust, like we talked about earlier. He's going to be getting the full Brock's the full Brock's Predator system. We've seen pretty good results on it from another build that we did, like we stated earlier in the video. Here's the system for those of you who haven't seen it. It is kind of like a brushed stainless kind of look to it. It's pretty clean. It looks really good. We're big fans of it. You know, it's a good quality system. I think it looks great. They coat it. They have some kind of coating on here, some kind of like, it looks like a ceramic coating on the pipes. But it looks good. Like I said, we like the system. It produced good results for us previously on another build that we did. And so we kind of started pushing it. And it's also not as expensive as their pentacarbon and their alien head systems. Last but not least on all this on the bike, what the last thing we're going to finalize on is we're going to be throwing a heel tech quick shifter on the bike and kind of wrapping it up with that. So between the exhaust, the tuning, the quick shifter, all the oiling mods, you know, this is getting a good package. This is primarily what we recommend for a lot of the all motor guys, especially who plan on staying like stock motor. This is kind of the kit that we always recommend per se, you know, minus some other odds and ends like the exhaust and stuff. But for the most part, we recommend a full exhaust system, an air filter, the oiling mods, quick shifter, kind of like we try to hit all the luxuries of what the newer bikes are kind of coming with, more or less, and pair it with that flash and tune. And this thing should be a ton of fun. Like 90% of you street bike guys out there who got these bikes, this is what we always recommend because it's just so much fun with that setup. I mean, it's going to make at least 200 horsepower. You know, it's going to have all the little gadgets that a lot of the newer bikes, like we said, are coming with. And yet it's a 1441cc bike that's going to haul ass, you know, and it's going to be plenty fun for the guy. So I wanted to show you this part of the build process as well. The oil, so this is really your oil pump gear, or not your gear, but your oil pump mechanism, part of it at least. But that's what it looks like with the plate off and everything. So what you do have though is you have this shaft. Holy crap, it's cold. I know, yeah. So here's how it looks off that plate. So the shaft goes inside of here. Now you see right here how it has this little kind of machined part out right here in the shaft. Let me see if I can get it on camera. So what that does is that links up with your water pump, and this is spun off the same kind of same gear basically. So with this, it'll actually make your water pump spin a little faster too. Which, you know, in theory, it should also help your bike run cooler, having this high pump volume, high volume oil pump gear. So, so anyway, this goes on there, and the plate So the way this works is, this is backwards right now, but this plate, we're gonna flip that around and this is gonna go in there. And then we have this little opening here. There is basically like a little cotter pin, more or less. It's like a pin that goes through it. There it is. So it's a pin that goes through it that also links up with the star here for the oil pump. So all in all, that's how it all kind of connects and it all spins in unison. Sorry, this is gonna spin like so, but that bit is a little offset. That star is a little offset, so it kind of does one of these inside of there. So, but it all holds together, and that's kind of how it generates the suction for the oil pump mechanism. So pretty genius. But anyway, this is the new gear on here. This is it pressed in. You do need a press to press off the old gear and press on the new one, and it's pretty interesting doing that process, I will admit. So for you guys out there, your first time trying to do this by yourselves, good luck. I've broken probably 4 or 5 of these gears over the years from just little mishaps that happen. So, and it does happen. And guys, also on this high pressure oil relief valve, you do want to red Loctite it in. Please, 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 if you're doing this, red Loctite, red Loctite, red Loctite, red Loctite. If you don't, that will fall apart and you're gonna lose oil pressure. Not gonna be a good thing. Oil pressure will blow a motor. So if you're doing this, you gotta make sure you're doing it right. So, and if you guys are running flat oil pans, another little tidbit for you guys is you're gonna have to shave off some of those threads on that relief valve so that it doesn't sit so low. And that way you raise up that oil relief valve. So again, it's not bottoming out on the flat pans. All right guys, so we got the ZX14R all on the dyno. It's strapped down. It's ready to, almost ready to roll actually. There's one last thing I need to hook up. But I just want to show you guys the exhaust. We left the fairings off on purpose so that way when we start burning in this exhaust system, we can actually see the colors and everything kind of coming through. Now we did fire it up to get it up on the dyno. And what you're gonna see when we get this thing kind of up and running, what you're gonna see is you're gonna see some smoking going on, okay? That's completely normal. Even if you wipe it all down and clean it all up, all that residual stuff that you're using, the cleaning agent, it's gonna smoke, okay? It's gonna be burning that stuff off, it's gonna smoke. So just kind of be prepared for that. But this is kind of what it looks like. And like I said, I'm a big fan of these. I think it's gonna do very well on the dyno. Clean pipe, I really like this pipe, and it is a cheaper option versus like the Pentacarbon or the Alien heads and all that jazz. And it still has a nice size to it as far as all the diameter piping. Still a good size. I think this thing's gonna breathe really well and produce some good numbers. So the other thing we're gonna do, we're gonna dial in his quick shifter. He does have a quick shifter on this. We got it all installed. We did an evap delete. We got to clean up some of the cable, or not cable, but vacuum lines. But we did do an evap, a mod, I should say, evap mod. And I think that's about it. It just needs some tuning now. Quickly, what ended up happening was just one of the sensors, yeah, for the idle, it just wasn't plugged in. That's all. It got unplugged when all the removal of the stuff happened, when Lewis was installing the quick shifter or something like that. So
quick shifter.
Yeah, the quick shifter. Again, stupid little mistake. Figured it out in all about 2 seconds. So, but we got some baselines done, guys. We'll go over all the numbers at the end of the video. I'm gonna label all the graphs and everything for you guys. So we'll overlay all that, but it did really, really good on this new baseline. So I think it's gonna come out killer. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna go ahead and put this base map in it. Now, interesting enough, it's running very, very, very lean. So again, we're gonna come up with the flash. We're gonna get this thing going and see what this thing ends up with. Now, I've already began to clean this chain and sprocket, but this one's pretty, it was pretty bad. You know, like I said, we've already kind of started the cleaning process. I did forget to shoot this beforehand, but every single bike that comes through here, we always clean up the chain, the sprocket, the wheel. We always do a full wipe down and clean up. Now, doing this also, by the way, guys, I do this also because it does add a little bit of horsepower, believe it or not. You're freeing up friction, you're getting rid of friction, and you're able to free up some horsepower doing this. So maintenance is key, especially for those of you who really always want to maximize the horsepower out of your bike. This is a little trick that you guys can do, and it's easy to do. It's a little bit of time, but it's really easy to do. And sometimes, honestly, we picked up between 2 to 4 horsepower on these bikes just cleaning the chain and sprocket. So we just use WD-40. You can use kerosene. There is a chain cleaner also. I think Motul makes it. I'm sure Bel-Ray has one too, but yeah, good old WD-40 never fails, always comes in clutch. Alright guys, so we got that ZX14R all wrapped up, and the customer is ecstatic. Really nice guy. I know he's going to be watching this video, so just know that we really appreciate you. Man, it was awesome meeting you and getting to know you and the bike basically, and I'm really happy that we kind of hit all the points on your checklist with the way the bike sounds and obviously the way it performed. So, but anyway guys, let's go over the numbers. I know you guys are curious about the numbers, so we're gonna kind of start from the baseline and then kind of go from there. One thing I want to take note real quickly is that the bike ended up having an ECU flash already on it. Now we didn't know that going into this, or I didn't know that, but the good news is it makes me look better. The other side of that is that you know, he wasn't really ever satisfied with the flash as it was, but you also have to kind of keep in your minds that this was a stock ZX14R with just an air filter. So you know, it wasn't really too much going on with the bike as it was, but you know, he said it honestly didn't even feel as good as it did stock with the flash. So, and I usually advise people about that when they call in, is that if you don't really have an exhaust, or you know, if you still have restrictions that are from the factory that are kind of still hardware restrictions, it's going to be really difficult to bring power out of that bike. It's really difficult to kind of make it breathe better if you haven't changed the hardware to enable it to breathe better, if that makes sense. So with the stock baseline, it laid out 185 wheel horsepower with 106 pound-foot of torque. Not a bad curve, not a bad curve at all. You know, we have a little bit of a rich mixture here, so it goes kind of off the chart, which, you know, I kind of expected with the stock exhaust. Then it goes really rich, pig rich here. 11.1 on this stab, and then it kind of levels out, and it's not too bad. It's a little lean, but again, we're also dealing with the stock exhaust system. But all in all, this looks pretty good as far as full throttle goes. Now, once we've installed the full exhaust, the Brock's Predator, and all the other things that we did install, here was the new baseline. Now, again, remember that this bike had been flashed given the stock setup, okay? It was not flashed under the intention that he had a full exhaust system and whatnot. So, you know, we have a little bit of a rich mixture now down here, which is actually not bad. But then, as you can see, the rest of the power, you know, the rest of the power band is super lean. And we didn't really pick up a whole lot of power ultimately with that. But again, guys, just again, keep in your mind that this flash was designed for the stock exhaust system and not for a full exhaust, okay? So, once we got our hands on it and we recalibrated everything and we got everything figured out, here was our final result. So, and then let's go over some numbers here. With the stock baseline, we are at 185 and 106 pound-foot. Then we went to 190, basically 195 with 107 pound-foot. And then final numbers were 205 with basically 117 pound-foot of torque, all right? So we were able to squeeze quite a bit more out by getting everything fixed. We have a nice rich AFR here at the top. You know, I kind of left it a little fat because again, this bike's gonna be mainly street driven. It's, you know, it's a lot of our street bikes, we kind of typically go on the safer side with the tunes. So we're not trying to push them to the absolute brink, but at the same time, we're definitely trying to get some power out of them. So good power gains, very good torque gains throughout the entire map. And like I said, we're at basically 206 wheel horse, which is very impressive, but it's also been pretty cold down here lately. So
that does kind of help out with these numbers. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, but anyway, guys, great numbers all in all. Couldn't be happier with these results. Obviously, anybody's going to be pretty excited about 205. So I mean, all in all, we had about a 20 horsepower gain between the baselines and the final, and about 11 pound-foot of torque gains. So very impressive. Tell us down below what you guys think about the numbers. Tell us down below what your opinion is on this setup. What do you guys think about the exhaust system? Not bad for a cheaper option, considering that most of these Brock systems are, you know, almost $2,000 now. This is a really, really good option for you guys out there for a cheaper option that still want a Brock's product. And again, this thing breathes really well. So it's a very good, cheaper alternative for some of you bigger bike guys, instead of those pentacarbons or alien head systems. This is a good cheap option, or cheaper option. So, but tell us down below what you think about the bike. Tell us down below what you guys think about the, you know, again, about the outcome and everything, and let us know from there. So if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to us. Leave a comment, and thanks for your support on the channel, and see you guys on another episode.